Ladies and gentlemen, you're staring down at the bottom of the bottle once again. I'm your host, Duke Lane. Let's get it going. Come on! All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our 420 edition of Bottom of the Bottle. I guess really what we're going to do is call this the bottom of the bong, but you just got to make sure not to drink the bong water. And my first guest up here right now, ladies and gentlemen, is Mr. Troy Stone. Dude, how you doing?
Doing good, man. How are you?
I'm doing well, I guess. About as good as I can, man.
I'm doing pretty good for the day it is. I think I don't think I'm slacking on my celebration.
I wouldn't say
my
so.
My celebratory activities.
I wouldn't fucking say so. So, man, fucking fill me in. How the hell is life? How in the hell is how does something like this, a holiday like this, well, you know, not even like a really celebrated calendar holiday when it comes to like Christmas and Easter and all this
absolutely.
stuff. So what does this day really mean to you?
Well, I think this day is kind of a celebration of the counterculture more than anything, and also just a celebration of good times and feeling good. And I think obviously, cannabis is part of that. And I think that's really what it's all about. I kind of think of it as a reason for folks to get together and enjoy each other's company.
It brings everybody together, and it really makes one another say, hey, man, we're going to put our sort of predisposed negativity, we're going to go ahead and lay that aside, and we're going to smoke a fucking joint, and we're going to go ahead and, be bonded by this particular herb, by this particular chemical construct of what we call THC.
Absolutely. I mean, when I went to Amsterdam, you had people from all walks of life gather there to pass a joint around together, And they might not talk to each other in any other circumstances, but when it comes to everybody just vibing on that level, people
and that's funny. That's kind of what I gained from it is like, man, two people that could sit down with one another and say, hey, I don't know you from Adam. I have nothing absolutely in common with you, and we don't listen to the same kind of music. We don't watch the same kind of movies. We don't appreciate the same kind of things. But once you get to fucking doing these things as far as, maybe smoking a joint together, I mean, it's a unity process. It really is.
It really is. And you're also, I think there's a knowledge when you're going into that situation, too, that this person is trying to engage in an activity that's going to create positive vibes. So you feel this little sense of trust in your time spent with that person already because you know that they're after a feeling of, good times and everything, just like you are. So, you don't feel like any bad times are going to be had. So, it's good shit.
Of course. Well, dude, amongst that, so tell me how a substance like this and really kind of a lifestyle like this, because I know you've been sober for quite a while now, right? From the alcohol.
From the alcohol,
of course. I'm not talking about, well, we going to give up every motherfucking thing. Somebody's got to have a vice from something.
Well, yeah, I might be asking a little too much from folks there. Year and 7 months I've been alcohol-free.
And congratulations, by the way, dude. I mean, that speaks volumes to your character. That speaks volumes as to who you are. But anyway, getting back to your process.
Yeah.
So kind of tell me how the marijuanas and the THC has really kind of brought you to sort of a level standpoint in all this.
Well, especially at the beginning when I was quitting drinking alcohol, marijuana was pretty important for me because I was used to having some sort of, mind-changing experience, after a hard day of work or whatever. And so, I didn't want to drink beer anymore, or whiskey was my favorite. And so, I just get off. I drink a couple cold Topo Chicos and smoke a good bit of bud.
Little television
and
static,
I'd be like,
baby.
Close enough, This is good. This will work. And from there, now I, it's a great way to just enjoy your day and cut loose in the same way that beer might do that for some folks as well. But it's a great alternative to that. And for me, it was just I can't drink a couple beers. I got to drink all of them. And you can't drive to the next town that night.
Yep.
If you're doing that. So.
Man, you are speaking fucking volumes to me because, especially even coming here, whenever I showed up, I played a show earlier today from 4 to 6. And no matter who you are as a musician, you're always going to run into these people that say, hey, let me get you a shot. Let me get you a drink. Let me get you a beer. And at that point, in my sort of acceptance of this, it's like, well, it'd be rude if I turned this down.
Oh, sure.
But the more you don't turn these kind of fucking things down, the more fucked up you get and the more risk that you actually take as to where, when you get here, this impedes not only a threat to your process as to getting here and playing a show, but as far as like you getting home and as far as you risking the fact of DWI.
Oh yeah.
It's definitely one of those things that it's like, man, you cannot take too much precaution. You cannot take this and that. And temptation when it comes to alcohol and when it comes to the kind of work that we do, it's ever fucking present. Absolutely ever present.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, but and that's another thing that I'd say marijuana does as well. Is, you know, if you've got a nice buzz on, you're not as likely to drink that beer. You know.
Yeah.
Because you're already feeling good, and you know, don't fix what's already.
Do not
broken,
fix.
You know?
Do not.
Something like that.
Don't fix what's already fucking broken, man. And if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But don't fix the shit that's
my
broken.
uncle's philosophy.
Well, that's a damn good philosophy.
It's already broken. Don't fix it, man.
Absolutely.
Just put it out in the yard.
Exactly. So Troy, let me go ahead and kind of hit on some of the stuff that you have been doing musically. You just released something of your own. Am I correct?
Yeah, we released our second single recently, called "Feel Alive," and it's a really fun track, and it's doing really well already on the spins and all that. And we're real proud to be able to have a Nick Worley come play some fiddle on that with us, and he's a great guy to work with. And the full record will be out June 27th, and we'll be doing a big shindig down at Green Hall for that one. So that's going to be a lot of fun, and so be sure to keep an eye out on all your digital platforms for that. It'll be available wherever music's available. Absolutely,
man. Well, I'll tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, Bottom of the Bottle podcast, bottom of the bong for the time being for 420. We are out here at Buck's Backyard. We appreciate everybody listening. Y'all check out Troy Stone and the Spent Shells. We are going to spin his latest and newest single. And what is it called again?
Feel Alive.
Feel Alive. Y'all enjoy.
Driving home in the rain, can't wait to see you again. It's only been a couple days, but it feels like it's been so long. The clock on the radio isn't how fast or slow. Wish I was an hour more down the road, be home soon enough. Getting high, getting low, getting by, living more. It's just part of this life. Stay with me till the dawn. Oh, and me, you in my arms, wrapped up real tight. You make me feel alive. Answer the call, but I can't dance at all. And when I can build a wall, you take the wheel. And the clouds are hanging low tonight, fogging up all the street lights. With you by my side, it almost don't seem real. Getting high, getting low, getting by, living more. It's just part of this life. Stay with me until the dawn. Oh, and me, you in my arms, wrapped up real tight. You make me feel alive. Getting high, getting low, getting by, living hard. It's just part of this life. Stay with me till the dawn. Oh, and me, you in my arms, wrapped up real tight. You make me feel
right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to after our intermission of the Bottom of the Bottle podcast, and we are doing our very special 420 edition right here at Buck's Backyard in Buda. And my next guest, one of my very good friends from New Braunfels, Texas, Mr. Austin Gilliam, A-Town Gilliam, baby. How are you, man?
Doing good, man. How about yourself?
Oh, fuck, I can't complain, man. Cannot complain. Just over here trying to drink a little bit of water and smoke some cigarettes, which is the completely adverse thing that any normal person would want to do on a holiday like
well,
this.
I'm smoking cigarettes and drinking beer, so...
Well, there you go. You've got one half of the process figured out.
Yeah.
But anyway, beyond that, Austin Gilliam, how the fuck are you? How have things been?
Been good, man.
Good. Well, kind of fill me in on some of the things you've been doing, and really kind of what I want to push to our listeners out there. You know, there's people out there that do so much for themselves, but there's also people out there like Austin Gilliam that do so much for one another, man. Tell me about this School of Rock thing that you've been getting into.
So, I'm an instructor at School of Rock in New Braunfels under Cody in Shannon, Canada.
Right.
And I teach guitar lessons, but I'm also the assistant music director for the showcase that we're doing, which happens to be Southern Rock this season.
And that's fucking awesome, dude.
We're teaching them how to play some Skinner tunes, some Molly Hatchet, and like Bonnie Raitt, Elvin Bishop, the Eagles, a bunch of cool shit. So
fucking perfect. You couldn't ask for a fucking better spread of people. Not only for people to learn, but for you to be able to teach people. That's so fucking cool.
Yeah, the kids are awesome. It's really cool to watch them progress, because not only do I see them progress as bands, but I see them progress like just in the lesson room as well. It's a lot of fun.
So what do you mean by progress as bands? Y'all do full band stuff over there?
We do what's called performance group, and then we have what's also called the house band, which is you have to audition for, but the house band is the face of School of Rock. So it's a collection of kids out of the performance group that it's weird. It's 3 tiers that we have. We have Rock 101, which is going to be your 6 to 10-year-olds, you know. Then we have the performance group, which is your 11 to 17-year-olds. Out of the performance group, you can audition for what's called house band, which means that they play gigs all the time, but they also, instead of having a curriculum introduced to them that they have to play, such as Southern Rock or 80s mixtape that we did last time, they're allowed to bring in songs that they want to play as well.
Wow.
And then out of the performance group, there's 3 bands that have already been formed from all the members there. I think it was Shannon and Cody's idea to tell them all, form bands with each other. Y'all can come here and rehearse, and then you can go play gigs and stuff.
So it truly is the School of Rock. And again, from a lot of my buddies that have been there and they've been instructing, and you know, kind of the knowledge and the insight I've been able to gain on it, it's really only been guitar. So, I mean, there's all different elements as far as teaching kids drums and bass and, you know, auxiliary shit and just really every part of the process of what it means to become a band.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
fucking awesome, dude.
It just you know, everybody whenever they're younger, if they decide they want to play music, most of the time they're like, I want a guitar. I want to play guitar. Like,
I want to play guitar. I want to get chicks,
so,
and it's just the most universal fucking instrument to learn.
Yeah, it's your dime a dozen. But
of course,
luckily we have Chris Compton and Andre Blissett that both teach drums. Jay Powell and Seth Foster both teach bass. Then myself, Ryan Snipes, Manzi Lowry, Austin.
And I saw
Meade.
Ryan Snipes. I hate to interrupt you. I saw him at a craft house last night. He was playing a little set out there. And fucking A, man.
Yeah.
And who were the other 2 past Snipes that you said?
There was
You, Ryan Snipes.
me.
They teach guitar.
Ryan, Manzi, Austin Meade. I don't know why I'm blanking on the rest.
And that's
of them
fine.
right
but
now.
my fucking people, man. I played with all those guys,
yeah,
obviously,
for sure.
from being a somewhat of a self-proclaimed fucking shitty guitar picker. But yeah, again, I mean, I know all those guys and great guys.
Oh yeah, awesome.
And then aside from that,
Actually, I had a meeting earlier today at River Road Ice House, and I'm going to be filming what's called a sizzle reel, where it's going to my buddy Billy McNabb, who's everybody's favorite DWI attorney.
all right.
He wrote a screenplay, and he said he used a couple of my songs as inspiration for it, and so he wanted me to be a part of it. So what it's going to be is the Reader's Digest version of the screenplay is this: there's a screenwriter,
Yeah, right.
famous, but he goes nuck and futz, and like a bunch of bad shit happens to him, and then there's going to be scenes of him killing people and shit like that. And it's up to you to decide, is he really doing this, or is this all in his head and he's just thinking about doing it, and that's how he's trying to get through it. So the sizzle reel is what's going to be used to pitch the idea to bigger investors to get the movie made. And so I'm playing River Road Ice House May 23rd, and I was actually going to hit you up about it because from 3 to 5, we're going to need some extras to be there, and I think Billy is offered to buy beer.
Dude, free fucking beer, become an extra in something that I can only see as being such an incredible thing. Fuck yes, let me know. Call me
for sure.
the week before, and I'm going to block my fucking schedule off, dude. That sounds awesome.
So
it really does.
Yeah, we're doing that, and then talking to the guy, and he was talking about doing some music videos for me as well, just to kind of help me along.
And who is this guy again?
His name is Aaron Lopez, and he goes by the nickname Mutt.
Mutt. Okay.
But he works with Danny Trejo on the regular because he's from San Antonio.
Here, man. Right on.
And so
dude.
he had just we had the first meeting was earlier this week, and today was just to scout out the location. But he had just flown in from L.A. He was doing some editing on a movie that Danny Trejo was directing and acting in.
Killer.
And so he was out there in the desert and shit.
Fucking A.
So
that's awesome, dude. Well, you know, we've kind of talked about music. We've talked about your process with School of Rock, which, again, I mean, I could not admire more. I could not respect more. I could not appreciate more. But being that this is the 420 edition of our Bottom of the Bottle podcast, which we're calling the Bottom of the Bong now, just make sure not to drink the bong water unless you're fucking ready for some other kind of ride.
Yeah.
Please kind of give me your own insight of what this unofficial holiday means to you.
I appreciate it because I think it's good that marijuana is celebrated. And I was actually having this conversation yesterday, I believe, with somebody. There's so many more medicinal qualities to it besides just calming somebody down.
Of course.
You know, it also for some people that can't eat, it creates an appetite, helps them sleep, and
alleviate pain.
Pain, yeah. And CBD is a good stride, but it needs to be legal.
It does. And I've been telling people for the past 2 or 3 years, I said, man, within the next 5 years, whether it takes us being out and from under the Trump administration, at some point this will become legal on a federal basis before it will state by state.
Yeah.
Because not only is, well, and the only reason that it might, that might kind of be an issue is due to the big pharma movement, you know? I mean, with everybody that, you know, goes to these, you know, has all these terminal illness problems, these cancer problems, everything else like that. They go to these doctors and they prescribe them, you know, opiates, or they prescribe them these, you know, harsh painkillers and stuff.
Well, it's just a chain reaction. Whenever they get prescribed all of this shit, they get one prescription to take care of the main problem, but it causes side effects. So they give them another medication to curb those side effects, and they give them another fucking medication to curb those side effects, and it's just ongoing. And by the time you know it, you're just making the problem worse because now they're on pills. Whenever it's like, hey man, just let me smoke a joint and I'll be fine.
Exactly. Which is why I you know, and I'm not the biggest stoner per se.
By the way, it was recently just found that the number of deaths by a marijuana overdose is now equal to the number of deaths of a person being gouged to death by a fucking unicorn. So.
That is a very good way to put it, man. Again, if anybody out there,
I had to make it sound
if
official,
we've got any kind of listeners out there that are doubting the effects of marijuana when it comes to a very detrimental process, nobody has ever smoked so much fucking weed that they have died due to the overdose of having too much THC in their body, too much THC in their blood. That's just not how this thing works. That's not how this I'm not even going to call it a drug. That's not how this substance, that's not how this chemical compound reacts to your brain and reacts to your body. Now, on the other side of that coin, you know, you might get a little too high and decide to fucking go things you shouldn't do, and, you know, your sense of cognitive function's off. But as far as smoking this stuff, sitting at your house, trying to relax, nobody's ever smoked too much to where they have not woke up in the morning. So, again, you know, versus a lot of people, when they're in their sort of deepened, darkened, dismal sense of depression, will sit there and drink a whole fucking fifth of whiskey or vodka or tequila, whatever they drink, and they don't wake up in the fucking morning. Yeah. You know, and that is a real thing, man. So, you know, again, to our listeners out there that really do not have an idea of the negative effects of this drug, there is no absolute way that you can physically overdose on THC.
No, you can't, because one of two things is going to happen. if you get too high, you're either A, going to fall asleep, or you're going to get so high that you're like, wow, I'm just really high right now. I don't need to be doing anything else. I'm going to ride this out.
Exactly.
Even if you're uncomfortable, it's like you just ride it out.
You just ride it out.
And you're fine.
And the only thing, if anybody ever like experiences this and you're listening to us, just know that if you ever get way too high, just know that this feeling is not going to last forever. You're not going to feel like this all the time.
You're not
and you're
gonna
to pass
die.
out, and you're going to wake up the next morning, and you're going to feel fucking right as rain.
Yeah, and you're gonna and if nothing else, you're just gonna like remember a badass song. Like I saw a video, it was like, what if we treated marijuana ads like we treat big pharma ads? And it was like this. My dad just keeps remembering all these things. Like I remember this song and how awesome it was, man, and I just found a new appreciation for it. And it's like it almost like it brings that feeling back.
Yeah.
In certain cases, and it's fun too. You know
Exactly.
What
Exactly.
I mean?
Yeah. So what I've experienced with everybody that I've talked to, everybody that I've really kind of come across that sort of envelops himself in this sort of counterculture, man. It's a lot more motherfucking fun, whether you do this shit every day, whether it's kind of a recreational thing or a non-recreational thing, man. There's just a lot of good shit that comes out of smoking some fucking marijuana every now and again.
And
man.
I will tell your listeners this: if you don't believe us, go to Colorado, and then try and tell me it's not a cool experience, because it is.
It is.
It's
and
great.
As far as traveling musicians, we've all been around. We've all been to the legal states. And what I've noticed, amongst people that are in Colorado and, a lot of these other states, California, that have it legalized, it's like they're very friendly motherfuckers, man. They really are. And maybe that's kind of just like the sort of scene that we're involved in. But, where a state where a lot of this stuff is legal, there's a lot less fucking crime. There's a lot less problem.
Because everybody's at home getting high and relaxing.
Because they fucking can.
Because they can.
They can all the time,
Yeah.
and there's no.
There's some people that have moved to those states specifically for those reasons, but not just because they want to be high all the time. There's people with genuine medical problems that go like cancer. I've seen videos of a guy with Alzheimer's in the bad shakes. He smokes marijuana, and it calms him down.
Yeah, it's the same thing with epileptic seizure patients.
Exactly,
it's the same with a lot of people.
There was a girl that's an epileptic, and her name was Charlotte. Right? No, thanks, not right now. Her name's Charlotte, and she was 11 years old, and apparently she had been suffering from seizures constantly, on a daily basis for months, right? And her parents found some growers out in California, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. Like, if any of the listeners out here, if you research this,
if you
is
can
a
look
true
this
story.
up and
If you can
correct
look
this,
up.
please comment in the comment section, and I'll be sure to get it to Mr. Gilliam.
Yeah, it's fine. But anyway, they found these growers that probably mid-20s or whatnot. Well, they developed a strain of THC oil to administer, or hemp oil, whatever it is,
Right.
Something of that nature. And the parents started administering this to Charlotte, and her seizures went away. They dropped from one a day to one like every 6 months, and they named the strain Charlotte's Web.
And you
How cool is
cannot
that?
tell me, from a medicinal standpoint, from a moralistic standpoint, from just a heart-wrenching, heartfelt standpoint, that entire story, you cannot find one single fucking flaw in the process of that entire story.
Not at
man.
all.
You can't. There's
No.
absolutely nothing that you can find and say, well, fuck you for doing that. That's fucking wrong. It's
No.
like, no, fuck you, motherfucker.
If it was your kid and they were having that
Would you
kind
not
of
want the
problem,
same
would
thing
you
for
not
them?
want the same thing for them? Exactly.
Yes.
And so, like, put yourself in these people's shoes. Like, they want to live their life just the same way everybody else does. But guess what? They get left the fuck alone in these states, which is a lot of times what needs to happen to people.
Yes.
Just in order for them to be okay. Like, leave them the fuck alone.
Right.
Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm going on a rant.
No, it's fine, man. Well, I tell you what, Austin Gilliam, thank you so much for providing your insight as to what 420 means to you and the counterculture of the marijuana smokings does. Dude, is there anything that you're working on, anything you're pushing right now? Or
I'm about to finally start pushing some songs off the record that I've been sitting on for a couple years now, unfortunately. David Beck produced it. Rio Tripiano came out and played guitar on one of the
Fucking love
songs.
Rio. I'm gonna get him on one of these full podcasts one of these days.
Oh, he's gonna be tickled to death. Like you got a feather up his ass.
Oh, he does.
So.
He does. Well, I'll tell you what, anything out there for our listeners to listen to at the moment or anything that they should be looking forward to in the future?
Look for, I wrote a song with my buddy Ross Cooper. It's called A Little Dirt. I'm going to be probably dropping that coming up this summer. Look for my live videos on YouTube for I'm Sorry, Strawberry Lemonade, and Never Gonna Go Away. And then look forward to the song I was talking about that Rio played on called I'm Sorry, probably drop later this fall.
Very cool, man. So Strawberry Lemonade is one that I've heard and I always really dig. Can we find that on Spotify? Can we find that?
It's on all the interwebs. It's
all
on
the interwebs.
Apple Music. It's actually funny you bring that up because we played a show in Hondo, and me and Tanner Cash, who's my bass player and playing with me and Logan tonight, and then Mitchell Pyatt, who's my main drummer right now. We came back from Hondo and we went to the Oyster Bar in New Braunfels because Tanner's roommate is bartender there. And this lady comes out and says, "Oh, wow, that's A-Town Gilliam right there." I'm like,
A-Town Gilliam, baby.
How you going? She said, "Oh, I really love Strawberry Lemonade. I know it's a cover, but it's my favorite." And I was like, "Well, I know I wrote that." And she's like, "Huh, maybe I'm wrong." And I was like,
"No, you're
I'm pretty sure I was fucking there when I wrote the song, and I've got the certificate from Library of Congress to prove it."
What this bitch did, she covered her buzz by drinking Strawberry Lemonade fucking Natural Light is what she
Yep,
absolutely
Natter
did.
Days.
Natter Days, baby. Well, anyway, man, Austin Gilliam, thank you so much for being here. I'm going to go ahead and give a shout-out to the song Strawberry Lemonade that I absolutely fucking love. It is coming up next for you guys. Once again, we're going to take a very short break. Bottom of the bottle, bottom of the bong for the day. Austin Gilliam, once again, thank you so much, my brother, for being here. We're going to take a very short break. Be right back at ya.
So many ways to show my love for you. I found that finding one way will not do. So many times I tried vanity and grace. You like the simple things. I know you love the days. Oh, can I make you strawberry lemonade? No sugar added, honey, until I kiss your face. Can I make you some strawberry lemonade? Don't worry, baby, I give it sugar every day. Can I make you some strawberry lemonade?
No sugar added on it until I kiss your face. Give me sugar. How can I make you strawberry lemonade? Strawberry lemonade every day. Call me what you want to be. Drink it up all you want. I'm still the back of tank. How can I make you some strawberry lemonade? No sugar added on it until I kiss your face. Can I make you some strawberry lemonade? Don't worry, baby, I'll give you sugar every day. I'll give you sugar.
Yeehaw, motherfuckers! One more segment of the bottom of the bottle, the bottom of the bong for this 420 celebration we've got going on. And I'm over here with one of my best fucking friends. I cannot say enough about this dude and enough about the band that he possesses. And for our entire relationship leading up to this very fucking moment, ladies and gentlemen, get ready to hear from Mr. Taylor Long of The Lawless. What the fuck is up, baby?
Here's the problem. Here's what I hate so much about the podcast.
What is that?
Is that we cannot discuss all the terrible endeavors that we have found ourselves in
Oh,
over the
of course
years.
we can. That's what the podcast is for, man.
Some of them we can.
All right. Well, you
And
know,
then
that's
some of them are just meant for fucking decades and decades beneath ourselves. Our great, great, great grandchildren will find those secrets, but the people today will not. And
All right.
that is the funny story about it. you know?
Okay. Well,
They
that
are
sounds
not ready for what the fuck has happened in some closed doors.
hell of a motherfucking deal, man.
It is the honest truth. That is really. Sometimes rock and roll is rock and fucking roll.
It fucking is.
Yeah,
God
no.
damn it, son.
That is the truth, man.
Well, Taylor, I got to ask, what the fuck is going on? If you've got anything to say in front of our viewers right now, it doesn't matter what the fuck is going on. I want to hear from you.
Well, let's start with music.
Let's do it.
Let's start with music, man. With coexisting in music. This is the biggest thing. Is tonight is a prime example of the coexistence of the music community. I'm not talking about the entire music community. I'm talking about the independent music community. It's a different ball game. So these people in commercial music, they want to do whatever sells, and they want to write songs about shit that nobody cares about, but it jams and it plays and it does whatever. The independent music community is a very unique process because I can do a show with anybody I want to, no matter what the genre is. We don't have to match up. We just have to have a good time and a good night. So, of course, if we do a show with the Drugstore Gypsies, it's a little bit heavy. It's a little bit rock and roll. It matches up. We do a show with someone like Bolin. We do a show with someone like Jackson Taylor. Jackson Taylor is as
fucking
tonk.
love that guy.
He's as tonk as it gets.
But as
He's-
crazy as
he
it
is-
fucking come and
he-
lives that rock star lifestyle.
He's dangerous.
Of course.
He's the kind of guy that will punch you in the face when you're going 80 miles an hour down the highway.
Abso-goddamn-lutely.
But he's also the kind of guy that will bring you on stage and go, if you don't know the words to this song, you better make him the fuck up or I'm going to break your jaw.
Right here on stage.
And he does bring you up, and you're not ready for the song, and he will break your fucking jaw, so you do make the words up.
Yeah.
So that's what happens with Jackson Taylor. So what's cool about the independent music community is that you don't have to have a necessary genre. You fucking walk on stage, and you play with whoever you're booked with, or whoever you book your show with.
Yeah.
Which is why I love to do things like Landon. Landon's like a modern. He's like the junior fucking coming up of the Sturgill style honky tonk nastiness.
Yes.
He's got that dirty. Muddy,
He honks all the motherfucking tongue.
He honk and he tonk and he fucking tonks him all the way to the. That's what he does.
Exactly.
And in fact, he tonks so hard that he cries you a bayou. And then what happens is people like the Lawless go on right before Landon, and it's a nasty, rough, aggressive rock set. And then boom, it's Landon. He goes back to that old school fucking let me make you cry a fucking honky tonk tear. And then as soon as Landon walks off, we go to a deal like Drugstore Gypsies. And it's aggressive rock again. What I'm saying is in the independent community, you can do whatever the fuck you want as long as you guys can do a show together and say, we don't want everything to sound the same.
Exactly.
That's
And so what I'm going to bring up is that the kind of crowds that really appeal to the rock and roll thing, that appeal to the honky tonk thing, that appeal to the country thing, there really is within this scene a lot of, if this makes sense, musical gentrification, if you get what I mean. You know, so close to one another, there's rock and roll as a motherfucker, and then there's honky tonk as a motherfucker right there on the other side of the fence. And it's fucking awesome, it's fucking pertinent, and it's fucking important to the red dirt scene, man.
And where is the crossover? That's
right
the
in
question.
front of your fucking face.
Right? You don't have to ask the question, where's the crossover? You jump in from rock and roll to tonk as fuck.
There is
what
the
you do.
fucking crossover, man.
That's the whole point. You shouldn't have a genre. You should do whatever the fuck you want to do.
Exactly.
That's the whole point of it all.
Exactly.
That's the reason we're called the Lawless, is because we don't have no fucking genre anywhere.
I fucking
Do
love
what you
it,
want
man.
to do.
God damn it. I fucking love
Drugstore gypsies, the same
it. Drugstore
goddamn thing.
gypsies, you know.
Some of
kinda
that shit is very, very aggressive,
No, it is.
hard
It
rock.
is. It is. You know, and through a lot of publications and stuff, especially around the release of our second record, we've been told, well, you guys have been compared to a lot of fucking, 80s glam rock and hair metal bands, such as, like, Poison and early Rat and early Guns N' Roses and all this other shit. And this was nothing that, as soon as we sat down and tried to compose the record, we didn't say, we want to be the fucking next 1980 fucking hair band out of 1985. That really wasn't the goal. But, for whatever reason, through our musical influence and through what we've experienced together, that's kind of what it was. And now, as fucking far off as that might seem that it might hit for us in the Texas music scene, we fucking embrace it. We fucking embrace it because we love it. We love what we do. We love the music we play. We love the kind of fucking crowd response we have. And just the fucking overall feeling that we get off of doing what we do every single night.
Well, look, this
makes it worth all the other shit
very,
that's involved with
it's
it.
a very similar project to how the Lawless came about, is that all the songs are written in a folk Americana, that little genre. Like, I don't want to say genre, but it's that little homestead. It's that folk country Americana. It can go anywhere. Basically, is what that means when you put it full band. And then when the Lawless puts a song to the band, it becomes this muddy, grungy shit. This nasty stuff.
Exactly.
And then there's no way around it. It don't matter.
Perfect fucking example.
It don't matter how soft the song is when it's written. When I bring it to the band,
It gets
I'm like, hey,
fucking lawlessified.
This is the softest song I've ever written. It's a very Chris Knight, or it's a very Robert Earl Keen, or it's a very fucking, it's a Bo Diddley, or it don't matter. It's a Woody
Yes.
Guthrie. You can take any type of soft, just acoustic song, finger picking, and lyrics. But as soon as you bring it to the band, they're like, all right, I'm going to put some drums. I'm going to put some bass line.
Yes.
I'm going to put some
And
leads.
dude-
Like, we're going to turn this up, and we're going to make it nasty. And then it just becomes this aggressive shit, and that's what it always
And
ends
that's
up with.
why I will say this. It was a perfect fucking example of the song that we've got charting through Spotify right now. By the way, last week we had the biggest jump of 22 spots on the Spotify charts due to this song. But perfect example. Take It From Me was a song that I wrote probably 2 years ago. Brought it to the band about a year and a half ago, 6 months after I wrote it. And we were kind of thinking about other songs we were going to, potentially put in the mix of what we were going to record. So I said, hey, man, I looked at Dylan Dostal, and I said, hey, man, I got this song, it might be, I'm kind of proud of the lyrics and what I did with it, but it's kind of dog shit. I want you to, put your fucking ears to it. And he did, and I played it, and he goes, dude, let's do something with this. And I said, okay. I said, all right, I got Dylan Dostal's attention. That's fucking awesome. And so we sat there, and we coerced on it. We kind of made some plans around it. Played it all full band acoustic. And I tell you what, man, after all that, as fucking far off as it was within the realm of what we do as a drugstore gypsies, I was able to show that song to the guys, and they were able to take it and fucking make it.
Which is
into what it
funny
needed
to me
be.
because when I actually got to finally hear it come back to me, because we've been doing these duos together for so long.
Oh, yeah.
And I've been hearing you play that song acoustic for so long on a solo deal, and then when it comes back full band, I kind of got this slap in the nutsack deal. where I was like,
That's not what I know.
whoa.
Fuck.
I was like, somebody
But
brought,
I'm glad I know it like
somebody brought the rest of the gypsies in. And I think Dylan probably put his little magic on it, because Dylan's got that sugary fingers that he throws
Guy's
down.
a fucking alien, man.
And from outer space. He's like the Rio Dio. And then he puts it down, and then everybody else just, they come in like, Choppa comes down and says, I'm gonna roll these sticks down, and I'm gonna just beat these drums, and I'm gonna make some magic happen. And then, of course, you got the Korey Davis who says, I don't play bass. I play bass from outer space. And he throws down all
from
this
outer
shit.
space.
And then
it's like Dylan Dawson
then-
on the lead guitar,
yeah,
Ray Choppa on the drums, me on vocals, and Korey Davis on the drums,
and then
man.
all of a sudden, it just comes down to this beautiful thing. And then, so when it all come down, it was like, you know, we got to start listening to this album come out, and we're like, fuck.
Yeah, because I was sending you tracks from, like, you know,
From the
before-
mixes. And,
yeah, from the mixes.
Well,
and
from the
shit.
acoustics for the most
Yeah.
part, if we could. So this was a big eye-opener for what y'all have been doing. And I'm very fucking excited about it now that it's out. And actually, I'm about, 30 minutes from standing in front of the stage and watching live for the first time a handful of these songs in front of me performed by the Drugstore Gypsies. I'm actually
it's coming
sweating.
down to it.
I'm actually sweating right now. I just walked off stage, and I'm not sweating from that. I'm sweating for the fact that I get to hear some of this new shit come alive in front of me for the first time. And on this particular night, it's Landon Bullard's release party. Like, everybody's
And that's,
there.
you know, and
All
that's the
of our
main focus,
friends
man.
are here
Shout out
together.
to Landon Bullard and the Mostly Sober for their album release party that we are
Did you
playing
say the
right
Mostly
here.
Stoners?
The Mostly Stoners, yes.
I thought that's what you
that's
said.
what I meant. You know, if I didn't say it, that's exactly what I fucking meant. But, man, shout out to those guys. Shout out to everybody that's here at Buck's Backyard tonight. Thank you to all of our listeners for tuning in. We've got a lot more guests coming up. We have a lot more shit coming up. But I just, again, well, there you go, Bubba. I, again, want to give the fucking biggest shout-out in the world to one of my best friends that I've ever had the graces of meeting in this fucking Texas music scene, Mr. Taylor Long of The Lawless, man. If you have not heard their new record, what's the new record called again?
It's called Lost Out There.
Lost Out There. That's exactly what it is, man. Y'all check out Rose City Moonshine. Y'all check out Spiders. Y'all check out fucking Chambers County. Y'all check out all that shit. I tell you what, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to play my fucking favorite song off that record right now within the break. This song is called Rose City Moonshine. Taylor, you got anything else you want to say to the
Yes,
folks?
I do. And here's exactly what I want to say. And I don't want to advertise anything. I don't want to talk about the next record. I don't want to talk about the new music. I want to talk about the next podcast. And the next podcast is we have to come up with something that we can tell the listeners. Some nasty story that we can share with everybody. We have to be able to pick one.
Motherfucker, I've got tons.
We
How
need
about that?
one. We don't need tons. We have tons. We need one really fucked up thing that we can tell everyone that we've been through. Just one.
All right. Oh, and I got the fucking story, but I tell you what, we're going to save that for next time. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, Bottom of the Bottle podcast, my partner, Mr. Taylor Long. Here is Rose City Moonshine by The Lawless. Y'all enjoy.
Good night, boys and girls.
Brothers all in prison, my dad's down in hell. He said blood be thick and water, 'cause water just don't sell. Swear to God, it's true. I ain't seen Casey, I ain't seen Daddy since 1932. Ain't never left Rose City. Never been shut down. Hide the fire, cooking whiskey. You'll never put it out.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, another edition of the Bottom of the Bottle podcast here in the 420 celebrations that we are abiding by. We are doing by. My very next guest is, again, one of my very best friends, my fucking bass player, holding the goddamn rhythm down on the 1, 2s, 3s, and 4s, Mr. Korey Davis. How the fuck are you, buddy?
Man, I'm doing good, man. Celebrating 420 the right way with my boys, with my friends. Man, that's a great time.
Well, I tell you what, man, out of everybody in this band, as far as like your counterculturalism, Korey Davis, out of everybody else, has really kind of struck me from the beginning as somebody that really does partake in the whole 420, not even not even during the date, but beyond that in the style of living, man. So take me through your process as what it means to be countercultured in this kind of a realm.
Man, kind of countercultured in it, man. I mean, you just do what makes you happy. If you wake up and you're a pissed off individual like I used to be, you just wake up and fire up a doob and you feel great. And I mean, on 420, you have other people that do that. They have a great time, and why not share that? I mean, you share everything else in life. I mean, when you're happy, you want somebody else to be happy. When you're mad, you're like, man, I hope this motherfucker is as mad at this person as I am. So whenever you have, and same thing with it is to me, it's a holiday at the end of the fucking day.
Of course.
You get all these people together that smoke. Some of them are just casual smokers. Every now and then they'll smoke some, but they'll always smoke.
But isn't that really like the definition of what a holiday means? Is to bring people together for, it doesn't matter what exactly it pertains to.
Celebrate
but
a cause
of course,
or a reason, because you think,
right.
Today we're celebrating and partaking of the devil's lettuce.
Exactly, man. I mean, it's really the changing of times. It's the changing of more so of a generational thing, which
Yes.
It's become such a huge part of our culture now that it just gives me fucking faith in saying, hey, man, we're going to really broaden this on the horizon of, hey, this does something good for you, and it's being received very well by the public, even beyond our FDA, even beyond Big Pharma. People are really starting to come around to it, and it's fucking awesome.
The whole thing about it is it was such a fucking stigma about it's a drug. I mean, from the moment you took DARE as a third grader, second grader, whatever, and we all let that dude down.
Yeah,
But,
didn't we? Didn't we really, though?
But no, in all honesty, it was the stigma. It's a drug. It was hammered into our heads. But now slowly people are realizing it's a medication. It is recreational, yes. It can be like drinking alcohol. You drink too much beer, you're fucked up. You smoke too much, you're fucked up. I mean,
yeah,
it's all the same. But people keep that stigma that it's a drug, and I'm not bashing on anybody, but if you even go back in the Bible, he said he gave all seeded plants for everybody to have, to consume.
You are very correct on that.
Jesus is my friend. I love Buddy Christ. But, man,
Absolutely.
I mean, like I said, the biggest thing, and I keep going back to it, is that stigma of it's a drug. Because you talk to a lot of people, and they're like, dude, where I'm at, I'm not going to smoke because my company drug tests. But the moment I retire or the moment it becomes legal, I'm in. The moment it's legal here, I'll smoke it every day. But right now, I won't because it's the stigma.
Yeah,
of it's a drug. I'll get in trouble with it. You know.
And so speaking on that, I mean, that's very personal to you. I believe I've heard you tell a story about somebody that was very close to you that really had that kind of same understanding and that same sort of coming to with that particular story. So,
yeah. And I mean, the day, and go back to the day that we are. Bottom of the bottle, you said earlier, the bottom of the bong. I like it's 420 episode.
Drink the bong water or not, depending on what you want to get into.
I mean, It's always okay to get a little weird.
It
Sometimes you
is.
have
Just
to.
do it, man.
Just get down
You'll
on it.
figure some shit out. I'll tell you that.
Hell yeah. And I mean, this world's going around. I've never met anybody pissed off and high.
That's a very true statement. That's a
I
very
mean,
true statement. It is.
And it's a great thing, really. People need to learn about it. Yeah, you don't have to like it. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that people do that I don't like. I mean, I like alcohol, but I don't like alcohol like a lot of people. People want to go out and get shit-faced every night, and I
Right.
get that. I was there. It's fun. It's a great fucking time. But I don't like how I felt waking up the next day. I could smoke, wake up the next morning, I feel great.
Very much so. And so I'm gonna kind of provide the counter argument to that as to saying, man, I'm a lot more of a drinker than I am a smoker. And so, I look at it like this. A lot of people really use marijuana and the effects of THC and the cannabinoids that they, are influenced on, and saying that, hey, man, I do find myself being anxious. I do find myself being worried about a couple of things. But when I smoke, it really takes all that anxiety away. And that's incredible for me to hear. And a lot of these people, just like yourself, really aren't too much on the drinking end. I mean, dude, me and you, let's be honest, we've been fucked up
Sometimes
a lot of
fucking
times.
slammed.
But, and that's what I appreciate about the times that you actually do that, is because you're able to fucking experience
all in.
memories and go all in. But for somebody like me, and again, I'm not saying that this is any type of appropriate or acceptable. But
Everybody has their own vice, man.
Everybody
do what you
does,
do.
and everybody does. And I do what I do in the fact of that I excessively drink, probably way too much, and I'll fucking figure it out one day. Don't
It's only
you
too much when you
worry
tell
about
yourself
that.
it's
Yeah.
too fucking
And,
much.
Exactly. But, and so when I do that, that's kind of my vice. And so whenever I do decide to, dabble in a lot of, marijuana and stuff like that, I do find myself getting anxious at times, because I guess that I'm not so, I guess, my life process isn't so involved with it.
Yes, and like when you drink a beer, you sit back, get you a nice craft beer, whatever beer you're
And it's
drinking at
normal
the
to
time,
me.
and you sit back and you relax. Drink. That's like a lot of guys. I worked in the plant systems growing up, and a lot of times you got in your truck, and on the way home, you stopped by the store and you grabbed a six-pack, and you drank you a couple beers on the way home. When you got home, you drank the rest of those beers, and that's what you did to wind down.
Right.
Because of the whole thing, you get drug tested and stuff. But then nowadays, and even in the states where it's legal, you go home, you get you a little pack of fucking bud, and you roll you a joint, or you load you a bowl and you smoke. It's the same thing.
Wise words from Mr. Korey Davis, man. I tell you what, here concludes another segment of our Bottom of the Bottle podcast, Bottom of the Bong. Korey Davis has already cleared the bottom of that motherfucker. There's not a drip left. He's already drank all the bong water, man. I love this guy to death. Will not say it enough. Y'all take some time to reflect on this. Understand the lesson that Mr. Korey Davis is trying to give y'all.
I got a lesson for you.
And we got a lesson for you, man. Y'all take care. We'll be back here right in a second. Let's get it.
Take the rain, take the rain and leave with me what is left of the day. So won't you leave the same, just leave it. About the same as you've done before. We got nothing more to say. But the wish I mays and the wish I mights, you know they do not help to see when you got nowhere to cast your light. Oh, honey, so take it from me. Here's a lesson for you. Well, don't you hesitate to let a little of your love shine through. 'Cause I ain't the only one to be the subject to all of your tricks. I know the sun is gonna shine, ain't nobody gonna whine about a loving that they can't fix. I'm asking you, where'd you go? Where'd you go? Was
Was it a mile just down the street? Was it a million up the road? And darling, how'd you know? How'd you know to knock me down? 'Cause you know I'll be around. Well, I guess I'll make like a tree and leave. And I'll continue to search elsewhere for some place I can plant my seed. Oh, honey, so take it from me, I got a lesson for you. Well, don't you hesitate to let a little of your love shine through. 'Cause I ain't the only one to be the subject of all of your tricks. Yeah, I know the sun is gonna shine and ain't nobody gonna whine about loving that they can't fix. Bring it on around one time.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our next segment of the Bottom of the Bottle podcast. I'm your host, Duke Ryan, and I guess for today we're going to go ahead and call this one the Bottom of the Bong. Logun Timberlake.
420.
Logun Timberlake, my guest right now. Have
What's
you
up,
ever
dude?
drinking the fucking bong water? Have you ever done that?
No, I haven't. No, I
Oh,
haven't.
fucking be truthful.
haven't.
Come on, man.
I'm putting some Dr. Pepper in the bong. I've had some soda water in the bong.
So
I've
does
never
that
drank it.
does that really kind of recreate the
makes it
chemistry of the
sticky.
fucking smoking
Just makes
weed?
it
Or
sticky.
no, and that sounds like somebody that's really fucking high is like, man,
Yeah,
what if I put Dr. Pepper or fucking Powerade or something
some
in
weird
here,
stuff with
man?
the bong.
It's gonna fucking make it taste better. And honestly, it really doesn't.
No.
For whatever fucking reason.
Doesn't do anything.
Exactly. But hey, man, so how the fuck are you? What's been going on? How you been?
Oh man, brother, I'm
Fill me
good.
in.
Life is a trip. Life is good, man. I've been working my ass off. I got 2-3 jobs. Feel like so running this way, that way, trying to write, play at the same time. Man, it's good though. Like
Well, that's
I said,
good. That's good.
Yeah, I stayed real low for a lot of time, for a lot of years, and it wasn't fun. And now this is fun. This is fun. for
Well, that's
sure.
good, man. So, a lot of people ask me all the time, it's like, you play music, and, but what do you fucking, occupy your free time with? And it's like, man, well, I have to fucking work. I have to pay bills,
Yeah.
Not a lot of this shit is very self-sustaining.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
I work on a fucking farm, for God's sakes, whenever I'm off.
Right.
Logan, what is it that you do on your time off to kind of, help pay the bills, help kind of bring you through what you do?
Oh man, pay the bills. I work at a restaurant in New Braunfels. I've been waiting tables for a couple
What
of years.
restaurant?
McAdoo's
Dude,
Seafood Company.
fucking
Yeah.
love
Yes.
McAdoo's. Holy shit. By the way, shout out to McAdoo's. If you haven't been there, one of the fucking most high-end seafood / steak restaurants you can go
is
to.
great.
Very cool shit. Go see my boy Logan.
I've done a lot of stuff though. I mean, I've worked on the ranch. I've worked at moving companies. I've sold newspapers. anything
Done
you
it
can think
all.
of, I've done it all. It's just, yeah. Some of them proud of, some of them not.
Well, that's just kind of like all of us, really. At the end of the day.
exactly.
You know, we do things we're proud of. We do things that we're not so fucking proud of, and those kind of moments make for the best goddamn stories. They do.
Good, man. I'm glad to have everybody here in one spot. This is good.
You know, and that was
and
my
Landon
thing.
did a good damn thing.
He
man.
fucking did a hell of a thing putting all this together, man. As far as getting all the musicians that we really love, that we've, you know, genuinely been able to connect with, that we care about, all of us under the same roof, playing on the same fucking stage, man. It's something therapeutic, and it's something tranquil, and it's just something really, you know, spiritual, and it's something fucking, I guess, serene about it.
No, it is. That's what it's supposed to be about. I think it was about that a long time ago, like when it all started, and somewhere along the ways it got lost. And here in the last couple of years, I've seen it coming back together. People like y'all, Shaker Hymns, Landon, myself, Austin. Everybody wants to stop, and Midnight River Choir. Everybody wants to stop doing their own
Fucking
thing
love
and
those
come
guys.
together and do it. And I think that's very, very, very high on my list of things to do, is to bring people together. Highway Hypnosis, shout out to Lucas Taylor, all that. There's no reason we shouldn't be doing more of this, you know? Like, it's what it's supposed to be.
You know, of course, man. And that was kind of my thing. Like, I knew with setting all this up and doing this podcast stuff, it would inadvertently kind of bring in, obviously, as far as process goes, bring people in here to do this kind of thing. But I would have never expected the kind of response that I get from everybody that I've had speak into that mic and saying what they've had to say, and really just kind of touching on what we've all done as a collective, what we've all done as, you know, the people connected with one another within the scene that we're involved in, man. It's such a fucking cool thing.
Is everybody
man.
talking about that? Has everybody kind of been touching
Yeah.
on that? That's awesome. That's
Yeah, of course.
perfect. We're doing the right thing then. Let's keep going.
Of course. Well, so speaking of music, speaking of all this other shit, Logan, tell me about some of your music and you know, where you are and, you know, some of the stuff you've been pushing.
Yeah, I recorded a bunch of stuff at 512 Studios.
Fucking great studio.
I love Omar. Omar's incredible. I've had these songs, a couple of them people have helped me write. Most of them are my own, some of my friends. There's just songs about people I know growing up, experiences I've had, and I plan on getting them out real soon. But at the same time, I feel a shift in things, and so I'm gonna get them out and then keep going. It's been a strange thing the last couple of weeks thinking about all this
me
music
hear
because
about
I want
me
to
hear
go.
Come on.
I want to expand things because I see these bands and I see myself. I don't enjoy the same things that I did 5 or 6 years ago.
Nor do I.
Exactly. And I want to put out something that I truly enjoy, and I love the recordings I did. I love the songs. They mean the world to me. But soon it'll be different.
Of course.
Soon it'll always be
Dude,
different.
you know,
And
going from that, whenever you say, I kind of want to expand on the ideas that I had 5 or 6 years ago. How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
29 this year.
You're 29, so I'm going to be 25 in August. But even still, throughout the time you're in your 20s, I mean, they say that is the most sort of influential time where you're going to, you know, sort of envelop this sort of sense of who you are. That's when you're most, you know, perceptive.
Absolutely.
That's when you're most, you know.
25, 26, 27, that was, my world changed. And to be where you are and y'all are at that age, and not to be like, oh, I'm an old guy, but
No,
it's awesome.
fine.
It's all. I look at people like you and Shaker
Thanks,
Hymns.
man.
Y'all have gotten to where I thought I would be at that age, but it's taken me now, you know, 5 years. And
Well, it's
time
taken
is
you
not
5
a
years, but I tell you what, like, we started this fucking 5 years ago. You know, we started doing
Right.
this.
We lived next to each other at one point.
And tell everybody where that was.
Man, you tell me where it was. I could drive you to it, but I can't tell you the name.
Fuck yeah, man, go
Yeah,
for
a
it.
little bit.
I'll tell you what,
Might as well.
Logan's gonna partake in the 420 events. And
Yeah, I'll do
but
it.
anyway, so
It's down at Ocarina Springs. I don't know. I remember seeing y'all's van, and I'd see y'all walk out, and Bramble's always walking
dude,
around.
Fuck yeah. Off of Ocarina Springs, me and Dylan used to live in an apartment complex, Rio Vista,
There
if
it
I'm
is.
not mistaken. Yeah,
I still
right
owe
up-
them money. Those dope.
Yeah, and I'm sure we do too, man. Fuck, that was a fucking 3 or 4 years ago, man. That was a long time.
Yeah,
That was a long
different
time
life.
ago.
That was a different life.
That was a different life ago. But, you know, to kind of get us on on the track of saying that, hey man, what the fuck are you doing with your music, and how in the hell is this counterculture involved in it?
Word. So I do have some stuff on iTunes, Spotify, whatever. Look, you can look it up. It's LogunTimberlake.com. Search my name. Got a couple songs out there. Me, Niles Rabakowitz played some bass tracks. Shaky played all the drums.
You talking about the Shaky? I fucking love
Shakes,
Shaky,
dude.
man. God damn it, what a cool guy.
Mr.
Oh, Christian, you
Olmsted.
talking about Christian?
Olmsted.
God
Yeah.
damn, what a
We're
guy.
gonna play his wedding next week. He's getting married.
You're fucking get out of here.
Yeah,
Holy
he's
shit.
getting married
no
out
shit.
there. Crazy
Wow,
bastard.
dude. Wow, dude. Speaking of weddings, man, like, and that's how I know I'm getting older. Like, I've had a couple of buddies ask me, like, hey, man, I want you to be in my fucking wedding.
You can't do it, can you?
No, and I
good gig.
can, but it's like as soon as somebody asks me and they're a good enough friend, I'm like, oh, fuck, okay, I'm a broke musician. That's $270 down the goddamn drain.
That's
I gotta
true, too.
fucking rent a suit. I gotta
Man.
do all this shit, and I'm sure by the end of it, it's gonna be fucking well worth it, man.
I'll
'cause
catch you
I
on the
love
second or
Barry
third
Jones.
one.
Yeah,
Catch you on the second or third.
right. But it's like, man, at some point, it's like, that's enough, man.
Oh, yeah.
Who the fuck do you think I am?
Man, working with Matt, I used to play bass with Matt Begley and Mike Ray and all
Bitter
that.
whiskey,
Yeah,
man.
Bitter Whiskey,
God
Steel Pen.
damn it, I love them boys.
Yeah, they're family, but I missed so many weddings. I missed every single thing.
Birthdays, weddings,
Birthdays,
Christmases,
weddings,
all
everything.
this other
I
shit.
couldn't go because we worked our asses off, and it ultimately happened the way it did. And so with my
And
music,
honestly, and I'm going to interrupt you
No, you're
first.
good.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is how you really fucking live the life in its utmost, man.
Yeah.
You endure the sacrifices. You endure the bullshit that you always go through, man. Logun Timberlake is a bad motherfucker because of that, man, because he's gone through the fucking ringer because of this shit.
thank you, brother.
Anyway.
But being my own boss now is what I envision, and making my own music and having a group of people around me that are doing the right thing, so we can take off and go do those things. That's what I like. I want to live life and music at the same time. There's no reason it should be separated. To me, maybe it is, maybe I'm delusional, but I think you can have a good life and play music.
You definitely can. You definitely can.
But I like living the hard life, brother.
I do too. Well, I tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, Logun
Thanks for having me
Timberlake.
on, bud.
Oh, absolutely, man. Logun Timberlake, once again. Is there anything on Spotify, anything out there in the reaches that anybody
Yeah.
can get to?
Yeah, there's a song
Name
called-
me a particular fucking song,
There's a song
that you
called
want
Too
people to hear.
There's a song called Too Tired of Mine. If we're not talking about my song, I've been listening to Lucas Nelson and the Promise of the Reels, Forget About Georgia,
Fucking great
for
song.
about 2 months
Well,
straight.
y'all check that song out, but I want people here to check one of your
Yeah.
tunes out. And,
All right,
and what
it's,
is it again?
It's oh my god,
That they can find on Spotify, Apple Music,
yeah.
all these other things.
it's Too Tired. It's a song called Too Tired.
Too Tired.
Recorded there at 512. It's under my name, Logun Timberlake. It's about a lot of things. Just listen to it. I think it'll make sense. Once you
Hell
listen to
yeah.
it.
And I promise you it will. Coming from my mouth, ladies and gentlemen, listen right here for the first time to all of our listeners. Listen to Too Tired by Logun Timberlake. We will be right back at you. Bottom of the Bottle podcast. Thank you all so much for listening. Let's go.
Woke up this morning, watched the world burn down last night. Woke up this morning, cracked another Lone Star light.
She tried to change what made her best. Change what made her best. What made her best. We're too tired to be inspired. Tired of everybody not treating each other right. It's just two kinds of people in this world. And I don't feel like eating, so where does that leave me? Gonna work my job and try to get along. Do my best to not write a sad song. Trying to get back to what was made. We're trying to get back to what was made. One day we'll get back to what was making us great.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends and foe alike, you're listening to the next edition of the Bottom of the Bottle podcast. We took just ourselves a little break. Hope you enjoyed the music that we played. And now I've really got a guest of mine that I even played an acoustic show earlier on today, and I played one of my favorite fucking songs this guy wrote. Incredible songwriter, an incredible fucking poker player nonetheless, and I wanted to get into that later.
I love getting your brother for a couple G's.
Oh, and I know. But dude, above all else, an incredible fucking person.
Dude.
Ladies and gentlemen, J.R. Castro, how
Cool,
the fuck
thank
are
you
you,
for
buddy?
having me. I'm good, man. Good to be here. Happy 420.
Happy fucking 420,
I
man.
can see y'all through the smoke.
That's it. Fucking barely, but I can make you out somehow. But JR, man, we've been friends now for what?
It's
A couple
been-
years.
Yeah, it's been a couple years now.
It's been a couple years.
Back at the veranda, man.
Back at the fucking veranda every Wednesday night, or not every Wednesday night, but JR would host his own
Yeah.
music series up there, and he'd literally showcase and bring in some of the most incredible Austin and San Marcos, and really not maybe a little bit of Wimberley, maybe a little bit of these guys, but really just kind of try to give these artists the opportunity to showcase in front of a new
Yeah.
crowd. And that was the first time that I ever met you, man. And that like
Definitely.
that point in my life meant so fucking much to me. It really
Yeah, it
did.
was.
As to say, hey man, like this is one of the first times that I've had somebody not only say he wants to maybe book a show with me, but he goes, hey man, I do this regularly, and he brought me on as a regular
Yeah,
guest. And it's
definitely.
like, and from there we just fucking developed an
Oh yeah,
incredible
it
fucking
was awesome,
friendship,
yeah.
man.
Yeah, it was awesome the way you were like, "Hey, I want to jam." I was like, "Bro, let's go," you know. And I remember you
Exactly.
came out, and I was like, "Holy shit." He wasn't kidding, dude. He's fucking jamming, and there
Well-
was a bunch of people too, and we had a good time. And
there was, and honestly,
Yeah.
like I gotta say, JR might have been looking at more of the people than more of my talents and expectations, because like right whenever I kind of got into do my own acoustic stuff outside a drugstore was with you.
Yeah.
So I was greener than goose shit, man. I was sitting there, I was like, I need a lot more practice before I start doing
fresh
this
on the
fucking full-time.
acoustic.
But again, I mean, I guess you kind of saw something,
Yeah.
and
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I mean, definitely, because obviously you can tell that you're a lead singer in a band, and also, a lot of lead singers don't necessarily want to break it down and grab the acoustic and just strip it down and play
Yeah.
if they're solely with the band only.
Right.
And they don't. And that was what was impressive, was that you wanted to come and bring your guitar and share your new songs, and then it got you into writing again.
It did. It definitely
And
did.
honestly, those nights are hard to remember when you're running a $400 bar tab at $250. You call it, so shit's kind of crazy. But and then we go party.
And they fucking
at
happen,
12:30
man.
or what,
And that's
or
why I
2 o'clock, 2
fucking
a.m.
love this guy, man. They absolutely happen.
Oh, it was
so,
insane. It was insane. I mean,
and
I'm
so
glad we survived it.
we did. And so the more I got to know JR, and I kind of sat down with him, and we'll get into some of his other stuff that he does very well, other than the music later. But one of the things that really kind of caught my attention of JR, as soon as I knew him and as soon as I played with him a couple times, we got sitting down at the bar, and he really sort of explained to me how his musical, upcoming was, hanging out with people such as Ryan Bingham, hanging out with people such, well, just give him the...
Well, definitely, just growing up in Cheatham Street from like 2001, 2002 to like now, honestly, I was able to get into the songwriter nights and play at Tavern on the Green in Cheatham Street and do the songwriter nights with people who hadn't yet quite made it. So I was very blessed, to play with people like Ryan Bingham and sit in with Randy Rogers and a lot of my friends at the time. I was really inspired by Matt Powell and Blue Edmondson and Stoney LaRue when he first came to town way before, things were real hot. And I think they were so hungry and they grinded so much that even in between all their huge shows and all the small shows that they had pushing to become who they are today, they would sit and play the open mics. And I think that was a good opportunity, was to go to Sagewood and San Marcos and play a house party, and run into some of these songwriters.
Right.
And then they put you to the test too. So when you go to, say you go to like River Road Ice House, so back in the back they had a place called the Compound back in the day, and you would sit around the campfires and you'd sit with some of the best songwriters like Mike McClure and Susan Gibson and the Dead Ringers, and you'd sit with these people, and you had to prove yourself, prove your worth. It's not that you had to, but you wanted to, because everybody was so good and they were looking forward to it. And I think that's what helps expand, a songwriter. So when we get together nowadays, even like what we're doing now, with Landon, with everybody, Troy Stone, we're all up on stage, sharing the stage. I think together, we can, make this, I guess, better in general. As when songwriting comes around, look at how more aggressive we get towards songwriting and to playing. The more we play together, it refreshes everything that we have. And then all of a sudden we're doing more festivals and we're doing more song swaps, and people are picking up song swaps down the road.
Of course.
Next thing you know, we're all inviting each other, and here we are, swapping these songs.
Right.
So it's a blessing in its own.
It definitely is, man. And it's again, just like you said, it's as much of a blessing is that it's more of a definitive opportunity for all of us to kind of allocate our resources and allocate our influences and all get together and say, hey, man, let's fucking create something that a country music fan can enjoy, Americana fan can enjoy, a rock and roll fan can enjoy, and we all immerse ourselves within this sort of correlated mass of everything that exists.
You infuse it.
Yes,
You want to infuse the
definitely
southern
do.
rock and the country and the songwriting.
You definitely do. And so Taylor from The Lawless was up here talking to me earlier, and he said, man, we played a fucking venue last night. They pulled the fucking plug on us, man.
Yeah.
Because, we were too rock and roll for the venue. And there is a small sense of, I guess, musical gentrification, if that makes any sense, of like within how close we are within a scene. There's a lot of rock and roll, and there's a lot of just soul, and there's a lot of just country, and there's a lot of just red dirt, and but the kind of people that make this scene sort of propagate are the people that really enjoy it all.
Yeah, definitely.
And can really enjoy the bringing together of it all.
Yeah, and the fact that he got cut is a good thing too, because I think we all need to experience failure too, because it's not that we failed ourselves. Our music is our music, and we're gonna rock that shit.
Of course.
But the venues sometimes expect something that they're not quite sure that they're getting,
and
it's like they should check out before they pay, or before
that's
they sign contracts. You
exactly.
should listen to what you're getting, especially
That's exactly
live.
what I was saying. That's exactly what I was saying to Landon
Especially
earlier.
live. I had a friend last night that got cut from a gig that I gave her because I was busy. And it was the first time it's ever happened to me my whole life. And her first time ever, and she was pretty sad. And I was thinking in my mind, I told her, I said, it's okay. I said, it's a good learning experience. Because I've definitely been cut places where they're like, hey, no one's here. Or, hey, we can't afford to pay. But I've never had a friend that I recommended ever get cut. Like, every person's made it, and she's amazing, And but I think it's good sometimes for us to get hit with that, so that it makes us, understand that we are different, and we are separate. And that sometimes we're getting up there rock and rolling. And some people can handle it, know. So
No, I get it.
You got to find those music venues that go, hey, listen, this one goes to 11.
Yeah.
Turn it up. Bro.
Of course. Of course.
Like, that's what I love about it too.
No, it is. It is. It's an incredible fucking thing. So JR, I guess in ending this podcast, let's fucking put the listeners' ears and the people's ears on something that they can look up of yours. Is there anything
Man, honestly,
out there in the ether?
You can go to jrcastromusic.com. I got some stuff on iTunes, of course, and Spotify and YouTube. But if you just go to JR Castro Music, and I think, just searching through some of those songs, I have maybe recorded 24, 25 songs when I was younger, when I was wilder, and when things were really, really intense. So I'm glad I got that out, and I definitely want to focus on new stuff, and I have some new stuff in the works that's kind of beyond that. But I think growing up in San Marcos, I had to release at least 2 records from the mayhem that happened on the square and in the parties and in Sisterdale and San Antonio and New Braunfels. I think, just accumulating all those years playing music in these small towns in this little circle has been intense. And to play with people like Jackson Parton and the Reed Brothers and Grant Ewing, got Landon Bullard here in the Drugstore Gypsies. It's like it just gets better and better and better and better. And sometimes, I think growing up with Sterling Finley and Kent Finley and Ryan Bingham and Randy and people like that when I was real younger, and Jackson Parton, I think they kind of inspired me to kind of look to something different. So when I was immersed in country and Texas country, I think they were the ones that put me onto vinyl records, and Tom Petty and Jackson Brown, and they put me into Chris Knight and all these songwriters. So I'm glad that they did that and helped me evolve, and I hope that we can do that for each other as well when we sit here and play these song swaps,
Absolutely, man.
Definitely, man.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to the Bottom of the Bottle podcast, the bottom of the bong when it comes to 420. Again, one of my best friends in the entire fucking world, Mr. J.R. Castro, incredible guy. And when I get you on for a full podcast, we're going to go into the fucking poker shit.
Oh,
We're
dude,
gonna
thank
go
you
into the
so
gambling
much,
shit.
dude.
We
It
are.
just- yeah,
we definitely
yeah.
are. But for now, we're focusing on the counterculture. We're focusing on the music. So
Yeah.
thank you guys
Definitely.
so much. We're going to take a very short break. We're going to come back with our next guest, Mr. Landon Bullard, the star of the show of the 420 set.
Hell yeah, bro.
We'll see y'all then.
Thank you.
Drinking and driving, I did it again. And I know that it is a sin. A 35 left lane, 95 right. I'm all over the road tonight. Someone called it in and the cops, they was coming, but my dumb ass didn't even know that I was running. I got out and I couldn't stop buzzing, but it helped me ignore all the cops fussing. It's a 35 left lane, 95 right. What the hell was I on tonight? I could have been wasted. I was a buzzing, now I'm a buzzing in jail, a cussing. 35 left lane, 95 right. What kind of shrooms did I take tonight? I'll keep Fosco blaring on the stereo. All my joints, they've got to go. They have got to go. Life is shitty, but it ain't lucky. I'm lucky it's not shitty enough to keep me thinking about some conversation. All the things that the girls call love. I know I'm stupid, but it ain't funny. It ain't drugs, cause I'm out of money. Yeah, I miss you, baby, like I miss my dad. I am on my knees begging them both to come back. A 35 left lane, 95 right. What the hell was I on tonight? I could have been wasted. I was a buzzing, now I'm a buzzing in jail, a cussing. 35 left lane, 95 right. What kind of pills did I take tonight? I'll keep cranium on the stereo, but all my joints, they have got to go. They have got to go. So just to go. Shitty money, but his money's stupid. Money's got me up on the wall. I am paying rent, I am paying restitution. Well, damn, this world ain't small. I miss Steven and he misses me. And I wish that he would look up and see that sometimes Dad's right and sometimes he's wrong. But when you are, just shut the fuck up and move on. A 35 left lane, 95 right. What the hell was I on tonight? I could have been wasted. I was a buzzing, now I'm a buzzing in jail, a cussing. 35 left lane, 95 right. What kind of shrooms did I take tonight? I'll keep Ryan Bingham on the stereo, but all my joints, they have got to go. They have got to go. Drinking and driving, I did it again. And I know that it is a sin. It's 35 left lane, 95 right. I'm all over the road tonight.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and do this for our next segment of the Bottom of the Bottle podcast. Bottom of the Bong, being that it is 420. I'm Duke Ryan, your host, ladies and gentlemen, and we have Landon Bullard on deck, the motherfucker that is absolutely responsible for putting all of this together. And right now, what are we discussing?
Pipe dreams, man. Pipe dreams. That's
Pipe
what we're
dreams?
talking about.
Okay. Well, tell me about your pipe dream, man.
My pipe dream, man, I just want to make music that I like to listen to. And like you said, like earlier I heard you talking about everybody talks about like a scene like Texas country or like red dirt and stuff like that, but like I really want to like, you know, build a community where people just make music that they like to hear, and you know, people just, you know, crowd around it and build people up, and you know, just make more music that you like to hear, and you won't have to listen to the bullshit.
Of course. And oftentimes, you know, so many people that really don't know music, like the Drugstore Gypsies, like the Lawless, like Logun Timberlake, like Randall King,
Austin Gilliam,
like Troy Stone, like all these other guys, like Landon Bullard and Mostly Sober, is because, you know, within the process of the entire thing, how it works is that, you know, the more that you have, the more that you have expendable to be able to push this product.
It's Game of Thrones, man.
It's a Game of Thrones, and you can be fucking bought into it.
No, 100%, man. Cash rules all, man. But
Cash does fucking
the only thing
rule.
you can do is just work hard, you know what I mean, and become undeniable, you know. And like, I shout out to fucking Wetzel. You know, because literally,
because he's done his thing.
He's done his own fucking thing, and he's like, you know, you don't gotta like me, you don't gotta love me, but this is what the fuck I am.
So do you think that is his center of appeal, or what do you think is his center of appeal? Like how he kind of got to where he is now is my question.
Well, Mike McClure and all those guys literally opened the door for acts like that, you know. Think about Reed Southall and think about Co Wetzel and stuff like that. It's kind of like the, you know, when Cross Canadian, and they've got this energy and this whole different sound that's its own, you know, and it's badass that a lot of people are tuned into that, man. But you know, a kin that I'm a liking to is a more traditional sound. So like,
yeah,
you know, Alex Williams or Jason James,
correct.
You know, the Steel Woods, Paul Cawthon, Sam Morrow. Those are guys, you know, that I really, really, really hold high as far as not only like, you know, writing and stuff like that, but just creating. Because it's like one thing to like create and stuff like that, but the ability to be able to get it from the guitar in front of people through the production process and on the wax and everything is.
So what you're saying
crazy.
is basically you're going to take what would be created in a studio and being able to replicate that live without anything to really kind of, I guess, muddle that or anything to hide behind. And if you can portray the exact same thing that you can do in the studio, or not even the exact same thing, but the exact same feel that you get from it. You know, people would come to your shows and they'd hear a song and they'd say, okay, well, I know what the full band, after all the production, all the mixing, all the producing, all the mastering, everything, and then they come to your show and they hear exactly what is going on with that, they get the same effect. Am I correct? Is that what you're saying?
Well, what I'm really saying is like, you know, the same way like somebody that is probably like a professional athlete probably has a certain beat they walk to, or a certain, you know, group of artists they want to listen to, or, you know, that kind of style, skateboard or anything, you know. But like I said, just making music that you love, that you would want to hear.
And that's what we do every day with the Drugstore Gypsies, you know.
That's, you know, I think that's what will set you apart, and I think that's the fast track to getting seen. There's so many people that sound like, you know, Wade. There's so many people that sound like Randy. There's so
and
many
that's I tell you what, I hate to interrupt. That is my biggest thing when it comes to as far as.
So
Dude,
shout out to
you
the
give another one of
Lawless,
them
and shout out,
cigarettes.
you know, to all those
Anybody
guys
have a
that are down to you know, take on that hardship of being your own group, being your own artist, and,
exactly.
and
But
doing your own, you know.
But really, there is so much more satisfaction that you can gain personally and musically, and, you know, not necessarily from, you know, picking up to the masses, because, you know, the people that really appeal to the masses are the fucking followers of everything, you know. They're the people that follow the trend, they follow the process, they follow the formulaic, I guess, disposition they put themselves in. And
Clark.
There we go. So people like that already know they've got it planned out for them. They've got it kind of mapped out. And all they got to do is look good enough and sell it good enough, and they can follow the fucking trend. But I take a lot more fucking pride in what I do, and being that we are so much more fucking different. We've had people tell me, hey, man, we're not particularly sure that we know exactly what the fuck you guys are doing. We've never heard this kind of thing before.
Exactly.
And that fucking gives me drive to do what I do, is to say, hey, man,
Wood
you've
for the
never
fire.
heard anything like we've done before. But, motherfucker, you about to hear it. And I'm about to shove it in your fucking face, and you're going to rock and roll.
Showing up to a place and having people stare daggers at you and, like, not know what you're about to do, but you show up and you do something honest and pure, and it's all you know, and it gets well received. That's the best goddamn drug there is.
It fucking is, man. It fucking is.
That's where the mostly sober came from, man. Like, I know motherfuckers that run for, 2 hours at a time because they get a running high. That ain't me, but I'll write a fucking song that I love, and I'll go play it in front of a group of people, and it gets well received, and that's the reason why I get up and do it every day.
And the same for me, it only takes, and not even, I played shows in front of fucking thousands of people before. I played shows in front of 0 people before. But I always say it like this, man. I'd rather play in front of 6 people that really do give a fuck about what I'm doing.
Listeners, man, there's a difference.
Versus 600 people that couldn't fucking
on
care
Instagram.
less, Exactly. Yeah, right. But, and that's kind of the thing. It's like, man, where does your following and where does your particular crowd that you appeal to lie? That's what I'm searching for.
I think they buy into you, man. Like, it's I always joke around and say I'm selling T-shirts because that's honestly it's where I make a lot of my money is over at the merch booth. I got a 90-minute pitch. And I've got to sell.
That's fucking funny.
I've got to
that you
sell
say
my
that.
whole group. I got my music to sell it, and so everybody's got to buy in, and I got to be bought in. And if I'm going in there lighting the ass, they're gonna know. So
very true.
You got to own it every time, whether, like you said, whether it's 1,000 people or it's 10 people.
You have to go in there and own
give
it
it
to
to
the
them
best
every
of your
time.
abilities. And oh man, well, it's like unless it's 420. Oh my God, this was something fucking else, man. This was a very good time. Probably not the best set the Drugstore Gypsies have ever done, and that's that's to my accord because I was really high and very cotton-mouthed, and it's very hard to keep a tune whenever your throat is dry as a bone. But we had a very good time. The people that stuck around really did enjoy it, and we didn't fucking.
You earned a lot of fans tonight, man.
Well, and I can only hope so. And dude, thank you so much.
Nothing better than that, man. Working for fans, right?
Of course.
Earning new ones. You'll show up next time, and they'll be here.
Abso-fucking-lutely. Well, I tell you what, Landon, you got anything else you want to say to the crowd, to the Bottom of the Bottle podcast listeners?
Yeah, please visit LandonBullardMusic.com. Follow us over to all of our social media. Please visit the Patreon page. I've got a series I'm casting on there called Honkers, and it's basically the ins and out of everything from booking to the rehearsals to the shows to the after. It's a complete inside look on anything you could ever want to know of a DIY band. And, we only get further down the road the more y'all get in and donate. So please, if you can, if you got it, reach out to our Patreon page and follow us there.
Absolutely, man. Well, I'll tell you what, give us a new single, a new song that you're pushing right now, and all of our listeners are going to be able to listen to it.
Love Don't Come Easy. That's what I'm pushing off the single right now. Y'all can get that at any digital outlet. Wherever y'all are hearing terrestrial FM country radio, please call in and bother the shit out of them and tell them you want to hear some Landon Bullard and the Mostly Sober. Come
Absolutely.
On.
Well, I'll tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, Duke Ryan, once again, of the Bottom of the Bottle podcast. Thank you so much, Landon Bullard, for putting on this entire event. Here it is, the track Love Don't Come Easy off of Landon Bullard's new album. What's the name of the album?
It's self-titled, man. Landon Bullard and the Mostly Sober.
Landon Bullard and the Mostly Sober, man. Y'all check it. Y'all dig it. Y'all enjoy it.